dots recipe for how to teach. So this is our most complex recipe, so we're going to get right into it. And I've done a few things to make the recording fit on YouTube. So we're going to start with add a circle and read line 30 for me, please.
The width of the circle is 15.
Okay, and you think of that as a variable, so we're going to just leave that there. And then we're going to go to line 34 and read that for me, please.
Create a circle.
And what object are we going to use to do that?
Shape maker.
Okay, so we're going to use the shape maker, and on the shape maker object, we're going to then use which method?
Create circle.
Create circle, and that takes a radius. So that's going to use our width. Now again, you could do a fake it till you make it here with a value, but just for the purposes of time and because this is getting more advanced in the series, oh, we've got end subs here, so we can't run this, so we need to comment out our end subs really quick like. And let me do that really fast because I just put those in so that it would be faster and I wouldn't have to type them. So let me put my end sub here and then one more end sub. And then I should be able to run this. Okay, so I've got a width and I'm going to create a circle. And I might have to make this full screen. And I haven't put this on the program window yet, so let me go ahead and do that. So after I create a circle, I need to place it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable to hold this. And that creates the circle of a certain width. And then I'm going to make this into a sub so that we can actually call this and place it on the canvas. And I'll take off my end sub. And again, normally you'd have the kids run it and then see that it doesn't work and then call it. But purposes of time here, we're just going to go ahead and call it. So now we call it. And again, we haven't done anything with it, so you're not going to see it yet. So we need to put it on the actual window. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the clear the screen. So on the clear the screen, we're going to clear the program window. So we're going to call clear on that. And we don't have anything on there, so we won't be able to see it. But we are going to be able to see this next one. So go ahead and read line 44 for me.
Right click to clear on the screen at position 100, 100.
Okay, and for this, we're going to explore and we're going to get to the graphics window. So on the graphics window, the method that we're going to use and have the kids scroll down and go through the various methods here is the draw text method. So if we take a look at the draw text method, we're going to see that that draws a line of text on the screen at a specified location. Now one of the things we did, because this is a more advanced recipe, is we put the English in a different order in the arguments than it has to be in the method. And this is on purpose, because if you translate this correctly, you put the string first, right click to clear, and then you'd put in 100, 100, and it won't work because if you read the documentation over here, you need to put the text last. So we're really trying to get the kids to read the documentation. And that's an okay thing to do because that's stuff that you encounter in the real world. So now we're going to go ahead and run that. And we do have the right click to clear, so that's good. And we are going to now encapsulate this in a method. So clear screen, and we'll just do the end sub right here. And sub clear the screen. And we'll go ahead and call this clear the screen. Again, normally this would be done in 2 steps, but we have a lot of richness in this recipe that I want to get to. So now we'll format so we can see everything, and then we'll run it. And there's our right click to clear. So that looks good. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to start with our sounds. So in order to do that, we're going to work on the click mouse recipe. So on line 9, if you read it out.
Play a chime.
Okay, so people might look, the kids might look under play or whatever. You might need to help them. It's going to be the sound object. Now the sound object has a bunch of fun things on it. It has play bell, play chime and wait. For early in the recipe, we're going to use play chime and wait, and then we're going to translate that to just play chime so that they can actually hear it. So we're going to say play chime and wait, And of course, you know, their sound has to be on. So that's kind of fun. So play a chime. Okay, so now we're going to go into this recipe to complete the click mouse. So we're going to call clear the screen again because we have that set up, and we'll go ahead and we know that works, so we'll get rid of that line. So now we're going to work on the if statement here. So we're going to translate line 11. So let's go ahead and read that out.
If the right mouse button is clicked, then...
Okay, so if should be kind of familiar by now, hopefully. So we're going to use the mouse object here. Again, we're encouraging a lot of exploration of APIs in this recipe as we do in the more advanced ones. And we're going to say is right mouse button down. We need the then. Then we're going to clear the screen. Otherwise, on line 14 translates into else. And then we don't have this, so we have a fake basically here. And then we have an end sub, but of course we also need an end if. So we'll get this off. And now let's go ahead and run this. And we have an end sub at the wrong spot because we haven't made this into a sub yet. So let's go ahead and make this into a sub and just complete it. And we're just going to call click mouse at this point. You'll see that this is an event in the front, in the first line here, but we're just going to call it. So let's go ahead and run it. Okay, and it doesn't, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this done, and we're going to right click here and format. We need to remember to still translate this. We've got this line off. So now we want to translate line 1, and this is an event. So if you read that in English,
set the click mouse recipe to be called when the mouse is clicked.
Okay, so this is going to happen on the program window. So in the program window, we're going to use the mouse clicked event. And you may have seen this before if you taught our recipes in order. When you have an event, you want to look at the syntax over here. You want to remove the parentheses or it won't build properly. So I'll actually leave it on so you can see the error. See, there it is. So now we're going to go ahead and run this. So when the mouse is clicked, then we're going to play this chime. And you can see it's a lot of fun. So now we're going to change this just to play chime because we don't want to wait anymore. And we're going to remove this line because we've translated it, and we translated this as well. And now we need to work more on our circles. So on the add a circle recipe, which we were working on down here, we did set the width properly. And now we have a couple more things to work on. So we're going to just translate line 24. Go ahead and read that in English.
Change the color for the next shape to the next color from the color wheel.
We're not going to do that yet because just like in all the other recipes, we're going to do the shapes first and then we're going to color it second. So that takes us down to line 29. So read line 29.
Move the center of the circle to the current position of the mouse.
And to do that, we're going to use which object?
ShapeMaker.
ShapeMaker. And we have a method called center shape at, and this takes the name of the shape and then the x and y coordinates. So the name of the shape is the circle. Now to find the x and y coordinates, we need to use the mouse object, and we did pattern this in a previous recipe. So if you're doing this in order, you will have seen this before. If not, this is going to be new and you might need to help the kids and give them the hint of the mouse object. So mouse Y. So we want to move the center of the circle to the current position of the mouse. Okay, and let's see, were we calling this add a circle? Yeah, we are, so this should work. So let's go ahead and run this. And you have to full screen this in order for you to see it. So there it is, and there's my chime. So we got a lot going on in this recipe. The kids are usually having a really good time by this point. Now, we've translated a lot of the shape, the event, but we have some more to do. So the next thing that we're going to do is in this connect the dots. So I'm going to just stub this out with connect the dots. And then I'm going to finish this by removing the end sub. And I got the add a circle in there already. And the next thing that I'm going to do is translate line 18. So on line 18, if you can read that in English.
Move the tortoise to the current position of the mouse.
Okay, and we're going to do tortoise, and the kids are going to want to do move. And let them do it, because it's going to be a little bit tricky, because they're going to say, well, that's the length. We don't really want to do that. So have them explore all the methods, and hopefully they'll come to the move to. The move to moves the tortoise to an XY coordinate position. So to do that, we can do it in one of two ways. We can use the mouse.mousex that we used down below in the recipe, or you could actually extract it as a variable and call it position, mouse x, mouse y, and then position x, position y. But for right now, we'll just do it this way. All right, so move the tortoise, and then we need to call this connect the dots. So the connect the dots is being called right on line 11. So we've got, we're clicking, when the mouse is clicked, then we're playing the chime, and then if it's the right button, we're clear the screen, otherwise we're connecting the dots. So let's run it, see if it works. And there it's drawing, you can see the dots. So the kids are going to be having a great time making a shape at this point. Of course, our dots are very boring colors, so we need to, and we need to right click to clear the screen to test that, and that works. So now we need to finish this off by adding the great colors. So I've finished the connect the dots, and we definitely need to format here. Keep formatting so you can see where the subs begin and end. So we want to get off the lines that we've translated by doing Control L, and we see that we have prepare color palette, and we have some things around the color. Now, in order to work with this, we've got a color palette recipe down at the bottom that I translated, and we're adding colors to the color wheel. So you can see this is a common pattern, and just for the purposes of time, I already did this. So I'm going to just take these lines off, because this sub is already done. So now we're going to go and we're going to translate line 21. Can you read line 21 for me?
Change the color for the next shape to the next color from the color wheel.
Now this is going to be kind of fun. So we're going to use which object here?
Shape maker.
Okay, so we're going to use shape maker, and then we're going to find the method set color for next shape, and we're going to use the color wheel because we put the colors onto the color wheel, and we're going to call get next color. But I'm doing this wrong on purpose. So you can see we created the method down on the bottom, but I purposely am not calling it, and I'm then trying to use the colors on the color wheel. Watch what happens when I do this, and this is a great mistake for the kids to see. So there are no colors on the color wheel because we haven't called the method. Again, this helps the kids to understand the order in which the objects are called and used. So in order for this to be used, we need to call the prepare color palette. So let's call that and run it. And again, I'm not full screen, so this is cut off a little bit here. I'll just make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Kind of fun, huh? So we're almost done. Our colors are solid, and we want to make them a little bit more interesting. So to do that, we're going to translate the last line. So can you read line 22 for me?
Change the circle to be 40% opaque.
Okay, and to do this, we're going to use ShapeMaker again. So we're using the ShapeMaker API pretty extensively. And this is one we wrote in the extensions just to make creating shapes and working with them more fun. So we're going to use the set opacity method. And to do that, we want to pass in the shape, which is the circle. And then we want to set the percentage opaque, which is 40. And now we're going to run that. And I'm going to full screen this so you guys can see it. And you can see the chime plays, the tortoise goes, eventually the tortoise goes. Sometimes it takes a little bit to catch up. There's a couple of little bugs in the API. And there he goes. And then we can right click to clear. And the kids will have a great time drawing shapes with this. It's a really, really fun, it's complex, but we find it to be really, really fun. So if we right click and we format program, we're done. Lots of variations with this. Fun recipe, very advanced. For more at www.teachingkidsprogramming.org.